Everybody, welcome back to Four Down Territory. Now today's going to be a little different. We don't have Paris with us today, which is unfortunate because today is our 10th episode and I couldn't see any other way to spend it than having Mr. K here with me today. How are you, Mr. K?
Great, Nicholas. How you doing?
Congrats
on episode 10.
Thank you.
Our longest running podcast. Make sure you remind Mr. Azur and Mr. Amelis of that every time you see them.
We're the original.
Yes. So congrats on 10 episodes, and let's make it a memorable one. What do you say?
I say let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get to it. First topic here, the Jaguars and the Seahawks had a little bit of an incident at the end of Sunday's game. So at the end of the game, Martellus Bennett kind of dived into the knees of Brandon Linder, the center for the Jaguars, and it led to a whole fight. And I'm a Jaguars fan, as most of you know, who follow the show. I was a little upset about it. And then you had, what was his name, Jefferson?
Yes.
Jefferson. I don't know his first name, I apologize. But that's not the point. He also started fighting. The Jaguars were just taking, knees to win the game. The second knee, Jefferson started fighting. They ejected him on the way out. A drunk Jaguars fan. I mean, we can't, sugarcoat what it was. So, they threw a beer towards him. He went over to politely talk to the person, but
is that what we're gonna call that? Politely talk to them?
That's how it started. Okay. He politely talked to the person, and then from there, another drink was thrown, and then he tried to dive into the stands, which you cannot do. As a football player, you have to keep you got to keep your head down and stay in line. So that happened, and then here's where it gets even better. As a Jaguars fan and as a man who just appreciates it when there's justice for another human diving at another human trying to injure them, there was no suspensions because the NFL said they believe that Martellus Bennett was just diving for the football. Okay. Mr. K, what do you think? Was he diving for the football?
He was absolutely not diving for the football. He was diving for an ACL. However, let me put a positive spin on this for you. I know you're still angry about this. You are talking about the Jaguars. The current date is December 15th. We were talking about the Jaguars. I knew we were going to start with the Jaguars topic, episode 10, by the way. Because we've done that 1 through 9. We were talking about the Jaguars this late in the season. You got to be excited. And you this win, everybody picked the Seahawks in this game. All the experts picked the Seahawks as they'll get it right. Russell Wilson, even with a depleted defense. The Jags aren't for real. Seattle's good. This is their time of the year to right themselves and get ready for a playoff run. And the Jags beat them up. I mean, their defense has been amazing all year. It was amazing again.
It was.
And that was the biggest win of the weekend of any team. That was a huge, huge win. And we've talked about this off the air. I think the prevailing thought right now is that if any team in the AFC could beat the Patriots, it's the Jaguars. They're built to win in the playoffs with a defense and a running game and a quarterback that does just enough, and sometimes those call picks, but does just enough to win games. And I think going forward, you got to like your chances.
Okay, this is going to be one of our longest topics we've ever talked about because I'm about to go off right now. Earlier in the week, off air, me and Mr. K have had conversations about this where we both believe that the Jaguars are real playoff contenders here. If you look at it, this weekend, if the Steelers beat the Patriots, which we'll get to that in a bit, the Jaguars will take the second seed if they win their game and the Patriots lose. So if the Jaguars get the second seed, and let's say the Patriots win wild card weekend, they move on, they play us in Jacksonville, where we're used to that warm weather. The Patriots are not. The weather's going to come into play. The home stadium is going to come into play. That defense is going to be hyped up to get after Tom Brady. And if they could get after Russell Wilson, in my opinion, the most fantastic mobile quarterback in our league, then what are they going to do to Brady, who's a pocket passer and does not move for his life?
I think the Giants, I'm going to talk about my team for a second, gave the blueprint in the playoffs on how to beat Tom Brady. The 2 years they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and that is obviously put pressure on the quarterback and
send Michael Strahan.
Yeah, send everybody after him. And I think the Jaguars have that same blueprint right now. And you said it, best, they need that home game, though.
They do need the home game.
As good as the
Foxborough,
Jags
it's gonna
are,
be
going to
tough.
Foxborough, where they've done this a million times, there's still the new kids on the block, the Jaguars. That'd be a big feat. If it's in Jacksonville, I think it's a total coin flip, and it might even give the edge to the Jags just because they'll be more comfortable being at home, like you said, warm weather, and I mean it's still Tom Brady. Good luck betting against him in the playoffs, but I think in Foxborough that's a tall order. But that's why these next couple of weeks break right. We don't have to worry about that.
And the funny thing is too about this game is that the Jaguars run a defense similar to the 2015 Seahawks that dominated the Broncos in the Super Bowl, not the playoffs, the Super Bowl. And also too, we have to talk about for the Jaguars now. It was very weird. Just a couple of weeks ago, many mock drafts out there had them taking Baker Mayfield. Now, it's been 2 weeks in a row now that Bortles has thrown for 300 yards against the Colts. I mean, yeah, you could say Bortles always scrapes the Colts. He's like 9-0 against them. The Colts are his comfort zone. But he just threw 300 yards against the Seahawks with the flu. What? Are we talking about Blake Bortles right now?
We are talking about Blake Bortles. Let me pour a little cold water on this for you, though.
Yes.
He needs, and the Jaguars need, Fournette to be healthy. He's already banged up again this week, hadn't practiced the last couple of days. He's made Blake Bortles better because you need the key on the run. If Fournette is not healthy, and I'm stunned he's this good, Fournette. I did not think he was going to be this good. If he's, if you're going down to Chris Ivory, TJ Yeldon land, that's not going to be enough because then you're making Blake Bortles do too much. But if you're going to give Fournette 25 carries with Westbrook, with Lee, I mean, you have guys who can, make plays on the offensive side of the ball. I think they're in good shape. But again, I think Fournette's the key here. He's got to stay healthy.
In my opinion, Blake Bortles is an offseason must-sign, re-sign. He's really turned. This was a make or break season for him, and in the beginning it was a break, and we were all ready to move the table. Now he's shown potential against a team that's been elite for. Yeah, they got a battered defense, but that does not change the coaching system. All those guys were capable of making Blake Bortles look like an embarrassment, like he always has. But this week, he's just been fantastic. We must re-sign him, and I don't hate the idea of taking a quarterback maybe round 2, round 3.
But I think it has to be a competition. I think you re-sign him with no guarantees that he's going to be the starting quarterback. Right. Even, regardless, if he wins a Super Bowl, obviously, maybe not. But if, you got to bring a second guy in there, whether it's a veteran or if you draft a guy, I guess, late in the first round now, which is not usually where the Jaguars
and that's going to be huge competition, too.
Right. So, even where maybe you do both of those things.
Right.
And then you make it, best man wins, and would give him an edge depending on how he does
let's say the Jaguars do, follow the rumors. They take Eli Manning. Who do you start? Blake or Eli? Blake is playing much better than Eli did this season. So
I think those rumors have kind of calmed down a little bit. I think
the Jags are not as desperate anymore.
Right. And when everything started to fall apart for the Giants, I think that was a natural fit with Coughlin and everything. But I don't know if you're in panic mode anymore with Bortles. If you're bringing Eli, he's a starter. You're not bringing in Eli to be a backup.
Yeah,
so if they don't believe in Bortles long term, then they'll bring in Eli. But if Eli's there, he's going to start.
Right. Okay. I have to agree with that. But just for time's sakes, we're going to move on to the next topic. That was a great discussion.
Just what everybody wanted. 5 minutes of Jags discussion. There we go.
That's the selling
point. Give the people what they want, man. Give the people what they want.
We're going to move on to who's your MVP. We are now at week 15. There is about 3 weeks left, including this one. And we got to come down to a conclusion here on who's going to be the MVP. Now, with Wentz getting hurt, that's you could pull the plug on that. So now it's a tight race everywhere. It comes down to, and we discussed it here beforehand, it comes down to Rivers, Wilson, Brady, and Antonio Brown.
I think those are your 4. Right. I think if Wentz stayed healthy and wasn't off for the last couple of weeks, he was going to win the MVP.
He was going to win, and no doubt.
And I think, honestly, he might finish second or third regardless, even with missing the last few games. I'm going to go off the board a little bit here and take Antonio Brown. I'm off the board only because no wide receiver has ever won an MVP award, but he's also been my fantasy MVP, so I have a little soft spot for him. But his numbers with weeks to go are He has 99 catches for 1,509 yards. Just in the last 4 weeks, he's got 40 catches for 627 yards and 6 touchdowns. If they beat the Patriots tomorrow, Sunday, and get one of the top couple seeds, I don't see how. I think the other quarterbacks are kind of even. I don't know. Brady's candidacy maybe took a little bit of a hit, with the Miami loss, and I feel like everyone wants to not give it to Tom Brady just because he's won it so many times.
Right.
And I think the Seahawks record, even though Wilson's been phenomenal.
Wilson was the only reason that the Jaguars were kind of. He made the defense, make a few mistakes. So you can't count.
With all the injuries they've had, they're still in it.
Right. Exactly.
It's really because of Russell Wilson. He's gotten so much better the last couple of years, especially this year.
Right.
And Rivers too. I think they kind of overlooked West Coast team, the Chargers. But if they make a run here and get in the playoffs, could you
imagine?
I think he's got a shot too. But Antonio Brown to me is they have. I mean, obviously Bell is Bell and Roethlisberger is great, but the kind of numbers he puts over, if he finishes with 130 catches and 2,000 yards, I mean, how will you not give him the MVP? I mean,
from my perspective, I think that Rivers deserves more credit than I was thinking about this the other day, Mr. K. The Chargers are fighting to get in, meaning like they're not in yet, and they need a couple things to happen. So let's say the Ravens, they got the world's easiest schedule to get in the playoffs. Let's say that doesn't happen, or let's say that the Chargers eliminate the Chiefs and win the division, right? Let's say let's say the Chiefs win games, right? Let's say the Chargers get in as the 6th seed. They're gonna have to go up against the 3rd seed. Now let's say the Patriots fall down to the 3rd seed. Chargers versus Patriots. Do the Patriots even get to the next round? The Chargers are so hot right now, you could make an argument that they would have some kind of shot against the Patriots. The Patriots, the defense for the Patriots is not stuck.
The Chargers are not as good as the Jags, but they have the same kind of team that would give the Patriots problems. They have a good pass rush with Joey Bosa and company. And Ingram. They have a good running back. I don't love Gordon as much as maybe Fournette, but he's good.
Right.
They can run the ball, and they have a stud receiver, and they have a good quarterback. I mean, they have all the pieces. They have all the tools. I don't trust Phillip Rivers in Foxborough either.
I don't either.
But an upset. It's not. That's what's going to be great about the playoffs in general this year is that every year there's usually one or two teams that you could pencil in. And usually it's the Patriots and one or two teams in the NFC. This year it's wide open. I mean, both, and I think even the 4, 5, 6 seeds in both AFC and the NFC are the teams. I mean, if in the NFC you might have the Packers sneak in, you have Aaron Rodgers as like a 4, 5, 6
coming back, saving the team.
I mean, in the teams at the top, like the Eagles, are going to be weakened
Panthers
now a little bit.
Don't count out the Panthers. They just made a statement win against the Vikings.
The Panthers and Packers. We'll get to that game later on.
Yeah.
Those are teams that are going to be, the 5, 6 seed eventually.
Right, exactly.
I mean, in the Eagles, have Nick Foles.
And the Saints' run game is fantastic, and that's what you need when come playoff time. A good running game.
The Saints, I think the Saints might be the best team in the NFC. Anyway,
I think they're in there.
So,
I think in my opinion, this is way too early prediction, but I'm saying Steelers versus Saints in the Super Bowl. That is my opinion.
Wow! After all that Jag talk.
The Jags make the AFC Championship, but they don't the Steelers' offense is hot right now.
The Steelers' offense is hot. Without Ryan Shazier, that defense, we need to see how the defense looked awful last week without him. They need to, and we'll see how they are against Tom Brady and company this weekend, but I worry about that defense now that they could. I mean, I think the Jags could put up 28-30 on them, and I think a lot of teams could at this point. So, but the defense, their offense, I mean, they could outscore anybody. The Steelers. That's
what I'm saying. Is that
to be honest, I think it's the Patriots or the Jags right now in the AFC, but it could be. Who knows? It's
I do think the Steelers have a better chance against the Jaguars than anybody in that AFC playoffs. Only because, like you said, they could outscore anybody. And if you look at the film from this week, Russell Wilson made a lot of reads on the Jaguars defense, and the Jaguars defense got confused, and then Tyler Lockett 50-yard touchdown down the field. Antonio Brown's gonna have no problem.
The one thing the Jags do not do that well is stop the run too.
Yes.
And there's no
And
better running back.
And that's what I'm saying.
Like, Le'Veon Bell. So
even if we do find a way to put the stop to Le'Veon Bell, that means we're not stopping Antonio Brown. It's a 1-2 punch. There's no
that's why they're good.
That's why the Jags defense is going to have problems, in my opinion, and it's going to be in Pittsburgh, no matter what, because the Pittsburgh they're going to get the 1 seed. So that's the only reason I don't see it happening, because they got that 1-2 punch and the defense is not ready for it.
Yep.
So.
But just the fact that we have 3 teams that are that evenly matched
right
now is more than we have most years. So it's awesome.
Exactly. No, it provides a lot of competition. I'm surprised that the NFL is still doing Madden ratings. The whole anthem thing and all
I know.
that. Like, this.
I think it's going to pick up in the
season.
playoffs. There's a lot of issues. I think when the ratings are down. I think more
Right.
people are just watching things on different devices and or red zone or whatever. But I think. This year, the playoffs are way more interesting than they've been in years, so I think those ratings are going to pick up big time once the playoffs start. Who's your MVP then? What did you decide, Rivers?
I decided on Rivers.
Okay.
And you decided on
I'll take Antonio.
Brown. Yes. Moving on here, kind of different. We're gonna change pace
Talk a
here.
little baseball?
Talk a little baseball. How about that? Baseball off season is here, ladies and gentlemen. And breaking news: the Phillies still have not done anything.
Nor have the Mets. Nor will the Mets ever do anything. Well, we signed a crafty righty reliever. That's helpful. But we the big news though.
Yes, Giancarlo Stanton, a team that's actually doing something in the offseason. They go out and get the best. What was he? He was the MVP of the league.
Yeah,
right?
National League MVP. Yeah.
So they got the league MVP. They got Aaron Judge. And they got a young team that's already made it to...
This is the rich getting richer.
Rich getting richer, exactly.
Here's, as a Met fan and as a Yankee hater, I like this move for this reason. The Yankees last year, as much as I hate to admit this, were a borderline likable team. They had a bunch of young, fun, exciting guys, Judge, Sanchez, etc. Now they're so hateable again.
Yeah.
This is the Yankees now being the Yankees and just... outspending everybody and getting the best available player, not giving up much to get him, but paying him $30 million a year, and they're going to load up on offense. I mean, their pitching definitely leaves a lot to be desired still, but they're the evil empire again, which is on Star Wars Day.
Right.
It's a topical reference. It's I like that for baseball. Is that as much as I dislike the Yankees, the baseball is better when they are good and when they're spending money and acting like bullies like that. And I think, it's obviously they're got to be the clear favorite in the AL right now. If they can add any pitching with that offense, they don't need much. But that was an unbelievable move by Cashman to get him.
I want to add, too, this is just from my view. It's not proven. But I think the Yankees are the only stadium that still fills up baseball games. So the other stadiums, you look at like the Phillies games and stuff like that, and they have open seats everywhere. So it's, baseball, don't want to say it's a dying sport for all those diehard baseball fans out there, but you can't sugarcoat what it is. So this may be with the Yankees getting back on the map. I mean, half the population out there.
It's like I said,
ratings
it's good for the game when the Yankees are good. So and with that middle of the order, they're going to be really, really good. A
lot to be said, too. Derek Jeter is now part of the Marlins organization.
Derek Jeter,
still secretly with the Yankees.
Yeah, I cannot quit Derek Jeter. He's continue to haunt every Met fan and every other Yankee hater in retirement. He's still helping out the Yankees. That was the joke on Twitter the next day that he was still with the Yankees.
On
the Yankee payroll, but it was. Unbelievable.
I do want to make a correction though to all my fellow Phillies fans out there. I've been paying attention. Okay, you don't have to watch the hate. Okay, I realized we signed a few pitchers and traded for a few pitchers. Yes, the pitching is going to be better next year. Is it good enough to even make a playoff
because
spot?
It can't get worse.
It can't get worse. It can't get worse. So any pitcher coming in helps.
Right.
We got Pat Neshek back, and we took another guy from. I don't remember where, but yes, I have been paying attention, and maybe we get into that wild card spot and lose first round. And get blown out first round.
Mets Phillies battle for last.
Reese Hoskins. You can't go
Love
wrong
Reese
with that.
Hoskins.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even know who he is because the Phillies aren't relevant.
All he does is hit home runs.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the Week 15 preview. It's a traditional topic we do here on 4 Down Territory, and this week I'm extremely excited It is games stacked on games on stacked on games. Like, it's really good this week, starting with Saturday, not Sunday.
Saturday football.
Saturday football. Chargers, Chiefs. Chargers taking on the Chiefs. It's a big division game there. We will see how that goes, right? Packers, Panthers. The return of Aaron Rodgers. Can he save Green Bay? That is the question. He said in an interview he's not coming back to save this team. The team is nothing without him. As you saw, they almost lost to the Cleveland Browns. I don't know how you do that. And the Panthers coming off a statement win against the Minnesota Vikings really showed team. Like I thought they were a joke because the Panthers, the one team they can't beat this year is the Saints. The Saints just always find mismatches against that, and they went out there against the Vikings and proved me wrong. So, and then Rams versus Seahawks. The Rams coming off a tough loss to the Eagles, a really close one, against the Seahawks, who were coming off a close loss to the Jaguars. Two teams coming off losses. This is a big division game. I think the winner, not confirmed, I think the winner of this game wins first place in the division for now, and it could all change, but the winner will have a better position to get there. The biggest game of possibly the year, Patriots-Steelers, the 1 and 2 seed right now. This is the game that I will be watching at 4:25 on Sunday. This is going to be the biggest game for not only this impacts the Jaguars, this impacts the entire AFC race. And then Monday Night Football. I know you were all waiting for that, but it's not even a good game. Falcons and Buccaneers. The Buccaneers coming off a very disappointing season, which I thought, you land Deshaun Jackson, you give Jameis Winston another target. Jameis Winston ends up being a bust. We'll go and talk about that another time. We're going to make game picks.
Let's
now.
make some game picks. Chargers Chiefs, you taking your MVP here on the road or what?
I'm taking my MVP here on the road, for sure.
I am taking the MVP on the road too. What happened to the Chiefs? We did this a month ago. I believe the last time I was on, we were the Chiefs and Eagles.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Eagles are still there, but now
the Chiefs are like they're bleeding.
They're bleeding.
They put like one Band-Aid on last week.
Kareem Hunt went from lightning in a bottle to he hasn't cracked 50 yards. I don't think. I had to get a decent week last week, but the month before that he did nothing.
He did nothing.
And their defense is falling apart. Their secondary, disgusting. Which was an all-pro secondary, has been gashed week to week, and I think that's exactly why the Chargers win this game.
The Chargers,
who's covering Keenan Allen this
game?
Right,
yeah. Who's covering Keenan Allen? Marcus Peters? He hasn't been doing anything this season.
Which is a huge fall off.
Marcus Peters is not Jalen Ramsey.
Ha ha ha. So I got to take the Chargers here. I think that they'll give up some because the Chargers do give up some big plays in the secondary. So I think you could have a Tyreek Hill bomb or two here.
Yeah,
but
you could.
I think the Chargers win this game.
A lot of people are going with the Chiefs because you could argue the Chargers' last 4 opponents haven't been Super Bowl.
I think they're going with the Chiefs just because they're desperate too. But I think that this is a broken. The same reason everybody was picking the Giants to win games, back when they weren't out of it because the Giants are turning around. I think this is a broken team. And
that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yes, it was. But I think the Chargers they're hot and they see the finish line, they see the playoffs in sight, and I think they win this game.
It all comes down to this game here for the AFC West. I mean, there's nobody's going to get in as a wild card team. And
no.
You got to win the division to get in. I mean, because the Ravens got it all wrapped up basically. They got the Browns this weekend, the Jets next weekend, and
how about the Ravens?
No, I actually really like the Ravens.
I do too. Nothing sexy about the Ravens, but they get the job done.
A 1-point loss to my team that I picked to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's convincing to me. Right. I mean, they could beat anybody in the playoffs. Honestly, I mean, maybe not. Okay, I don't see them beating the Patriots, but I mean, they'll at least get through wild card weekend. Yeah, and they'll be there in the divisional.
Yeah, round. And in the they're tough. There's a tough out every year, physical. And they're a physical team, which not every AFC team is, and they're experienced too. They're there every year, and
yeah, exactly.
You match up with a Tennessee or one of these, even the Jags, or somebody that's not been there that much. You never know. So.
Well, the Jags, they didn't take the pressure this weekend, and that's what I like. When they get to the playoffs, It's just another game for them. The defense stays head down. They know what to do. Yep. But also, too, you got to go with playoff experience. The Jags, the last time I watched the Jags in the playoffs, I was 8 years old down in a playroom watching them lose to the Patriots. So, yeah, it's been 10 years. A long 10 years for me. Packers versus Panthers. We still have game picks to make. We got a little off track there.
We do.
But
who do you like?
Panthers, obviously. At home, I mean, Aaron Rodgers could come back, but he's not going to save Green Bay. This team is already they almost lost to the Cleveland Browns. And even though Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He's just, it's not enough to beat, and they're going up against a team that's in the playoffs confidently. The Panthers offense against the Packers defense. That's what I see in this game.
I think this is the Packers or this week's Seahawks, where everyone just assumes that the Packers are going to win this game because they're the Packers and they're going to get in the playoffs.
Packers, yeah,
just like the Seahawks were going to beat the Jags because it's the Seahawks and it's December and they're going. I think the Panthers win this game too. I think they're a better team.
Yeah.
The Packer defense has been a mess, and going on the road, like I said, I know it's Nick Hundley versus Aaron Rodgers, but they looked out of sync last week, and I just think that there's too many holes in the Packers right now. Their running game's a mess, and I think the Panthers. I think Cam, this is his time of the year too, and he's got something to prove. He knows Aaron Rodgers is coming back too, and I think we're going to see cocky Cam doing Supermans all over the all over the field on Sunday. I think the Panthers. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Panthers eke it out.
I don't even think it's going to be close. I think the Panthers in a blowout here.
Wow, all right.
Blowout.
All right.
I think, and another stat for you too. It's kind of funny. The Packers. I think ESPN reported this a while ago. I think. Can't confirm again, but the Packers this season, if they would have made the playoffs, they would have broke the all-time record for most consecutive seasons, playoffs back to back, and they're not going to get it this year.
Nope.
So they lose it 1 year before they had it.
We realize we're counting Aaron Rodgers out right now.
Yeah,
so
we are.
That has not traditionally worked out well, but
right.
But yeah, Panthers. Right.
Yeah, Panthers. Rams versus Seahawks here. I'm taking the Rams on the road.
I am too. The Rams are for real. I think the Seahawks, last week was their season, and I think reality set in with that loss to the Jags, and the Rams' offense is...
It's that defense.
As high octane as it comes, and the Seahawks are getting a big play after big play, and this is going to be Gurley going off. This is going to be a couple of Robert Woods bombs. He's back this week, and I think the Rams win this one by double digits.
If Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor and that entire just Seahawks defense in general, KJ Wright, if they were all there, this would be a different story for me. But it's just their defense is way too bad.
They're so battered right now,
they're down to Byron Maxwell as their starter. Like he got scraped by a couple of rookies last week. So, I know we go back earlier in the show. I said you can't break a coaching scheme, but it's just not working out right now. So. Can't overlook it.
I just think the Rams have too many. I know it's in Seattle. That's always tough. But the Rams have too many weapons on offense right now. And I don't see how Seattle has any answers for that.
Yeah, I don't either. So now we're going to make a game pick for... Actually, you know what? This is my show. This is our show. We're going to skip ahead. We're going to go to Falcons and Bucks. And then we're going to go back.
We're saving the past.
We're saving the best for last. Right. This game... You want to make a game pick on that?
Here's my hot take on this game. I think the Falcons. We talked about the teams at the bottom of the playoff picture being like a sneaky. Don't sleep on the Falcons here. All right, boy. Don't sleep on the Falcons. They own the Bucks. Number one, they're going to win this game.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston has taken. I mean, he's been banged up for a lot of the year, but he's taken a huge step back this year.
Yeah, he really is.
The Falcons, I think, win this game handily. And watch out for the Falcons. They are not dead. No one's talking about the Falcons because. There's been other better storylines and they just kind of in the NFC and they just kind of like snuck around and hung around, and I think they get in the playoffs in their building, or if they go on the road, they have the offense to do it, and their defense I think is just good enough in the secondary to give people problems. So watch out, Falcons.
Julio Jones is back. That is all I'm gonna say about that. Falcons win this one. Julio Jones is back.
If you have Julio Jones on your fantasy playoff roster this week, you are playing and you are winning because he is going to light up. The Bucks can't stop anybody.
I can't even remember. Who did the Falcons play last week? I can't even remember. But Julio Jones just absolutely, he's back. That's all I got is he put up 100-yard performance and he's Julio Jones has been sleeping for the beginning of the year, but maybe a Super Bowl shakeup or something like that. But he's back. Time, He's healthy at the right time. Correct. Now. We saved the best for last. Patriots versus Steelers. I wanted to make sure we get a long, nice discussion on this one because we both talked before this. I'm taking the Steelers because I need the Steelers to win. It's a need for me so that the Jaguars could get that second seed. But you're taking the Patriots, Mr. K.
I'm taking the Patriots. This with hesitation. I think the Steelers can win this game. I just think their defense is so banged up, and Tom Brady owns the Steelers. I'm going to go with my head a little bit. You're going with your heart a little bit on this one, I think. I just think recent history, and I think the fact that they lost that game, you're getting angry Tom Brady this week. You're getting, he saw Jay Cutler dancing on the sidelines against him, and the Dolphins acted like they won the Super Bowl after that game.
Right.
I think you get angry Patriots. When have the Patriots had back-to-back bad games in the last 10 years? I know it's in Pittsburgh. I know the Steeler offense is amazing, but I just feel like this is the Patriots saying, we're still here and we're still the best team in the AFC, and the Super Bowl's running through here. So I think they win. I think it's a close game. I think it's a good game. But I think the Patriots give me a 24-21 final.
To go against your point, you said that you're going to get an angry Patriots this weekend. I disagree. I think you're going to get a confused Patriots team this weekend that does not understand why things are self-imploding right now, and they're going to figure it out after this week, because this week is a huge test, and I think the Steelers come out and they immediately hit a touchdown on their first drive of the game, and the Patriots are standing there going, what do we do now? How do we answer to that? How do we keep up with this team? Because let's face it, that Patriots offense got shut down by the Dolphins. That Patriots offense is going to have no problem getting shut down again by the Steelers. Even though that defense is battered, right? They got Joe Hayden playing this weekend, hopefully. Joe Hayden against, who do the Patriots have a wide receiver right now? Isn't everybody injured, right?
They're injured, but here's my matchup for you. Without Ryan Shazier, their linebacking core has taken a huge hit.
Yeah, they have.
Where do the Patriots make all their money? Over the middle with Gronk, with Amendola. Is
Gronk coming back this weekend?
Yeah, Gronk is playing. I think that's where on the outside, maybe Pittsburgh can handle the Patriots wide receivers. Maybe Brandon Cooks doesn't have a big week, but over the middle, I feel like that's where they get gashed, and that's where I think the Patriots wear them down and get some big plays in the passing game.
If that defense could hold up against the Patriots, I want to flip it around and go, I want to look Steelers offense versus Patriots defense. Antonio Brown is going to have trouble this weekend. I'm calling that now because he's going to have to go up against Malcolm Butler, and I know a lot of people have counted out Malcolm Butler this year. You watch the film, and he's just an all-around great corner. The footwork is fantastic. He reads plays before they even happen, and he jumps in front of them, and he's a fantastic corner. We can't take that away from him. So this isn't no easy matchup for Antonio Brown. That being said, I turn it around now because, like I said, that 1-2 punch, the Patriots' run defense, look what Kenyon Drake did last week. Le'Veon Bell is much better than Kenyon Drake. So can the Steelers or can the Patriots find an answer for Le'Veon Bell?
The key to this game, and you said, is Malcolm Butler, because the Patriots will usually take your biggest weapon away, whatever it is, and whether that means double covering somebody or spying on a quarterback or a running back, whatever. They can't do that with Pittsburgh because there's two studs there.
Right.
What they, I think, are going to do is just hope that Malcolm Butler can take Antonio Brown or at least limit him one-on-one.
That's
and
the plan.
And then you key on Bell and just hope that you can,
But you can't always hope for that either.
No,
because
I know.
With Malcolm Butler, if you keep one-on-oneing him with Antonio Brown's going to make a play at some point. It's Antonio Brown. He's going to make a play.
It's a risky proposition.
Right.
It's going to be a great game. Bottom line is,
what
we decided that that this is a dead even game.
Yeah, we're totally excited.
And that's where I just take the intangibles of Brady and the Patriots. It's December. It's their time of the year, and I think they make a statement here. That's not to say the Steelers couldn't, return the favor in the playoffs if that comes to it. But I think the Patriots coming off a loss, and a kind of an embarrassing loss too, to a division rival who's not good. I think they show up and they win this game.
And in my conclusion, I take the Steelers, that home field advantage. Those fans are going to be absolutely wild. They're playing the Patriots. I would be wild. The cold weather comes into factor in that one too. It's going to be cold this weekend. And also, too, just that environment. And I think the Steelers finally get over the hump and take down the Patriots because the Patriots have held them out for a long time. But we finally, this has been a long episode.
Hey, episode 10 to get your money's worth.
Yeah, you get your money's worth this episode. In episode 10, we make it the biggest one of all.
Yeah.
So I'm
show.
extremely excited. I'm extremely excited, and this is going to knock technical difficulties down in the ratings. So
friendly rivalry with the technical difficulties, boys. We'll be back for one final pre-holiday episode next week.
Yes, and then we're going on a little break. We're all going on a little break. So technical difficulties and 4-down territory. We're going to be on a little break.
Nick will be here in his Jaguars Santa hat next Friday.
Next Friday, and
fire up episode 11.
Yeah, episode 11. Let's get to it, right? We will see you next Friday. Thank you once again for tuning in. Follow us on Twitter at 4downt. And check out our YouTube channel, JLHS Eagle Eye News. No spaces, no capitals. You'll get a poser. So just make sure you do that right. Thanks you once again. Thank you, Mr. K, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Paris will probably be here next week. Sorry we didn't have him on the show today for any Paris fans out there. But thank you once again, and we'll see you next time.